This morning, I actually woke up before my alarm. I woke up like 5 minutes before my alarm. My alarm usually goes off at 5 a.m. I woke up at 4:55 and yeah, all the vibes, Ketchup on some sports, pray, read the Proverbs, but a spliff. And I'm thinking about the call and I said, God, I'm not come on the Zoom, come talk to people about it. And you know what God said to me? God said one. I said one. One. I'm not sure what is one thing. What someone else, I'm just gonna come on the call and say one. Then what? And I started to think about this whole one situation for a little bit, and so when I think one or when I say one, what comes to mind? What automatically comes to mind? And a few things actually came to mind when I think one. If I just say one, I automatically attach it to a couple things. I say, all right, God, since they said one, I just talk about one then. So one of the things that came to me right from the back when I thought one was one life. And I kind of stepped back and looked at myself and I thought about this. If somebody says to me, yo, do you have one life? George, if somebody said to you, yo, you got one life. Anybody hear my voice, somebody said to you, yo, you have one life. Where does your mind automatically go? And I obviously can't speak for anybody but myself, and I don't know if I'm weird. But when I thought about that, my mind always seems to go, yo, I gotta make the best of this thing. I'm not a cat. We don't have nine. We don't have nine to chew, but there ain't even a rumor that we got nine. You know what I'm saying? So, chance that we all got nine. I don't think we got nine, George. You know? So I only got one, yo. I gotta make the best of it. And I think everybody always feels like they're not making the best of it. As much as we might look at that person, yo, they do good. Like in their mind, it just feel like they're not making the best of it. Because at the end of the day, especially people like us who have been exposed to personal development and all these success concepts, we know that success is intentional, right? And that was on the first thing that we jump out at when I jumped in this whole one conversation. And I think that came to me was like one day. And further, when we say one day, there's so many spins that you can have with this. There's so many directions you can go. One day. But specifically, I thought one day at a time. I don't know who needs to hear this. But yesterday was over last night. And so he need to just let that shit go. Let it go, man. Damn. You know, you can't change it. You can't fix it. The only thing you can do is move forward. And it's funny, the Stoics philosophy, it talked about like happiness in the here and the now. You know what I'm saying? Today, right now, one day at a time. Because you know what's crazy, all that stuff that you can't change, that you're allowing for kind of control everything going forward. If you really give it some thought, it's inconsequential at this point. Yesterday was our last night. Today is a brand new spanking day. someone that push positive, right? And here's the interesting thing, you know, as great as today is and tomorrow and the next day and so on and so forth, and you know, you forgive yourself and you move forward, guess what? You're gonna fuck up again. I, I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but hey, it is what it is, man. But guess what? That day when you mess up so in the goods, man. Guess what I'm gonna come to you and set you the next day. I go, yo, say so in yo, guess what? Yesterday was over last night. Today is a brand new day. One day at a time. Another thing that came to my mind when me and God had this one conversation was one dream. One dream. And I understand the abundance mindset. I understand we're diverse and we want a lot of things, but you ever hear the phrase jack of all trades and master of none? You familiar with that? I don't think it's a good idea. And this is just my opinion. I mean, you know what you want. But I don't think it's a great idea to be trying to be the best basketball player in the world. And at the same time, you're trying to be the best MMA fighter in the world. Something gotta give. I don't want to come across like a pessimist, but I don't think that's gonna work well. You just you have to kind of pick one. Yeah, focus. We were talking about focus recently, right? Focus. You have to one dream, and the dream can be so big that it encompasses a whole bunch of other mini dream inside of the dream, but everything has to be connected. It can be can be pulling in two different directions. Nobody's successful that nobody. The best person that you know doesn't have success that way. Find something you're passionate about and I want dream and that you go after. So in one conversation I get interested in one. Another thing that came to me was one team. Everybody's familiar with this. There's a famous what you call acronym? What you call that thing that when abbreviation? You know what I'm trying to say. You know what I'm trying to say, right? So the one I know for team, the one I was here, I don't know if there's a more popular one, but this is the one I've always heard is together. Everyone achieves more. And listen, Georgina, I know you can do incredible things by yourself. I'm not discounting your ability. Verna, I know you're so talented that you can do incredible things on your own. I'm not trying to say you're not capable. So in the photographic thing, I share along a place. I'm not trying to speak against your potential, but what I'm saying is together, as talented as you are, together everyone achieves more. So it seemed like a good idea to do it together. And I don't want to get into this school teacher mode on y'all because I got my bifocals on, as the hater would say. But in John C. Maxwell's 70 indispensable laws of teamwork, he points out in the law of significance that one is too small a number to do anything of greatness. And I'm sure if I ran a poll on here, there's a bunch of people on this call that wants to do great things. So as we step up in this one conversation, I swear to you, I take up Building an Empire, which is a book. that we just finished this book. And I opened it up. I'm gonna say the power of one. Mr. God, you're one. Talk about the power of one for a second. This is, and I know we're getting into business. We're talking about the business, like, if y'all don't mind. So this was on the page. This on the page. I just opened the book and it was on the page. And I thought about one. I was all right, God, so I go with this. And the first picture, it's kind of comparing a job to a network marketing business. And listen, I'm not shitting anybody on anybody's job. If you have a job, big up yourself. And congratulations. And I know you're grateful for it. I'm grateful that you have it because it has allowed you to do a lot of things. You know what I'm saying? This is not that talk. But it's just highlighting one. And let's say you have a very good job, right? The first year you make them about 80,000 a year. Yeah? You're comfortable. That income is coming from your efforts, just your efforts, and you're cool with that. Hey, that's good income, right? Your network marketing business, you bring 4 other people along. Now there's 5 people on your team, so your income is being decided by 5 people. Year 2, you're doing great on the job. You probably get a raise and money gone up, and you know what I'm saying? Life is good. It's going great according to plan. Your income is based on your efforts. That's fine. You're living a good life, right? Let's say that over that year, the 5 you brought in, the 4 plus y'all bringing 5 each now. Year 2, you have 25 people that their efforts are impacting your income. And we could just fast forward to year 5 because we don't got all day here. Year 5, listen, you got a promotion. You're the president. You're making $100,000 a year in the job. Hey, you're living a life, baby. You're doing well, right? Just on your efforts alone, and that's perfectly fine. You're living a good life. Year 5 in the network marketing idea with the 5 gets 5. With those numbers, there's 3,125 people add to your income. Now let's compare this. Let's say if you have the option of making $100,000 a year based on the work that you do, or you have the option of getting $1,000 a year based on from each of 3,125 people. Which one would you choose? You can figure that out on your own time. All right, next slide. Not next slide, well, next picture. Power of one. Let's look at this right here. Let's say in 1 month, you bring 1 person to the team. And is that doable? Is there anybody on the call who's ever brought in 1 person in 1 month? Seems like it's doable. All right. So no, guess what? 1, 2 is 2 of y'all doing this little thing that y'all doing together, chasing those dreams, right? I told us, you will go on. Me will get 1. You will get 1 in 1 month. Now, is it doable to get 1 in 1 month? Is there anybody on the call who's ever got 1 in 1 month? Okay, so it's doable. All right, so boom. So I guess you all go on now. And now I still want to go on. 1, 2, or 4 away. I do this little thing. We work on chasing our dreams and doing it together. And we say, all right, you are going to do. Me, will get 1. You get 1. Everybody get 1. I said, all right, cool. I'm going to do that. Is it doable? Should I ask if there's anybody in the call ever got 1 in 1 month? All right, so everybody, see you all 1. Y'all get the drift. Nobody in the call is slow. 1, 3, there's 8 of us. Do that for 12 months. Everybody just get 1. There's all the math work. It shows you on the screen. 4,096 people. See, a lot of y'all are wasting your energy focusing on 10,000. A lot of them are wasting your time focusing on 50. Some of them wasting time focused on 10. And you're overlooking the power of 1. 1, just say 1. No, by this stage, the conversation, me and God about this one thing, it can get steamy and it's all right. Since you go pour one, God, what about this? What about the one? I mean, since we've been here, I'm going to trade is there's many analogies. They say you want the ace, or you want the superstar, or you want the, you know what I'm saying? You want the one. Like we are looking for that person that's gonna come and just gonna lead and just gonna grow fast and build a big team, and you don't have to do much like that leader, like the one, right? We all, especially in this type of setting. What about the one? And this is a conversation we've had many times, so I'm not going to spend too much time talking about it, but we just go have a little refresher. We already established it on previous calls that you are the one that you're looking for. We established that, right? We already established that the best place to find the one is in the mirror. Right? Yeah, I remember that conversation, I'm sure. And we ran over a few characteristics of the one. I'm real quickly going to run through them. We said, and you might remember, we said that the one has a burning desire to win. You remember that? We said that. We also said that the one expects to win. Another thing we said, because the one expects to win, the one focuses on winning, has a championship mentality. We also said that the one has posture, physical and metaphor. And we said the one's a vision cast, so always focus on the future, always talking about where we're going. Always painting the picture. What the Bible said. Where there's no vision, the people perish. And we also said the one is a 10 at all times. Yeah, I remember that conversation. And then everybody started showing, I'm the one. Yeah. No matter. But I think one of the most important things, when it comes down to the nitty gritty of it, as we would say, is one more. And you might ask, do we start on one more? Wait, so, what do you mean one? What? One more of what? What are you talking about? Well, you tell me, what have you not been doing? What have you not been doing? Have you been making calls? Have you been doing presentation? Have you been reading the books? What have you not been doing? You want more of that. And then you have to give one more. You want more of that. I say after you do that, you want more of that again. And I usually don't do this. But I'm just gonna kind of go with the inspiration this morning. And I want to leave you guys with something that I came across as I was I'm gonna tell you something that I do sometimes. Maybe I'm not even supposed to be telling this, but yeah, I'm a friend. So I'm gonna tell you. So I aspire to be a great speaker, right? And one of the most powerful things, matter of fact, Alma really want to reach out to you and talk to you about this a little bit more in depth. Like when you're sharing information, you, you should always use stories and analogies. Don't just give people facts, right? You should always stories and analogies. Another thing is whenever you're doing a presentation, any type of presentation, I'm gonna learn this from Toastmasters. Right up here, big up yourself. You should always start strong and finish strong, right? So something that I usually do, what I always do is I look for stories and I memorize stories that like stories and belief and stories, topics that I know I'm going to talk about. I always look for stories and learn stories so I can share stories, because stories really drive home points. So sometimes, y'all know I'm kind of last minute. Well, I work well under pressure. Sometimes last minute, if I'm going to talk about something specific, I look for stories. I'm looking for a story that I learn real fast, and I just come and share it. And so I'm great. So I'm looking, Georgie, I feel like you're judging me right now. I feel some judgment coming my Hey, please just know, right? Anyways, so I'm looking for a story and persevering. I'm gonna say, yo, we need to just done the call for the story and persevering and drop them. You don't know what I do, right? But I came across something. I'm gonna say, no, I need to just come in here. I'm gonna just play this.
Persistence. Any worthwhile goal in this life is most likely going to take a ton of this rare attribute. Though that might sound pretty obvious to most, very few actually lack the real persistence needed to make big goals turn into a reality. Chasing dreams and listing big life-changing goals seems pretty fun in the beginning on paper, but any seasoned dreamer will tell you that the amount of time and energy required to make them actually happen is often stacked miles higher than they originally thought. When most people reach these inevitable plateaus along their journey, they give up, realizing things will be much tougher than they first anticipated, and decide to take an easier route. Bear in mind, these are the ones who have actually dared to chase their dreams in the first place. Many might criticize those who give up on their dreams, but in all honesty, I can totally understand it. Of course, I encourage people to follow their passions, but I can't lie, it isn't easy, not by a long shot. I totally get why only a few succeed, but anyone who has made it to the other side will tell you that you need courage, imagination, and a shitload of persistence. I'd like to expand on this by telling you the story of the 8 broke men. In a faraway land on the outskirts of the Persian Gulf, 16 broke men gathered around as one of the village messengers spoke with them. He mentioned a huge pile of abandoned jewels and gold coins, equating to a small fortune on the other side of the desert. He had its location on a small map, given to him by a worthy source. Half of the men instantly lost interest, as they said the other side of the desert was hundreds of miles away and was totally impossible to reach. The remaining 8 said they would go. They gathered 8 camels and as much food and water as possible. Once arrived, they would split the treasure between them. The leader was a man named Eli, who held onto the map. He was good with directions and had travelled much more than the other men. They set off at noon in high spirits, excited about returning with their riches and boasting about what fine purchases they would make once back. 100 miles into the journey, the heat started to get to them. 3 of the men turned around and said they wanted to head back, as the temperature was becoming too much for them to bear. 200 miles in, another 3 turned back. They were tired, exhausted, and started to have doubts about whether or not this treasure was even real. The last 2 men carried on for another 100 miles, until the other men finally gave up, leaving Eli all by himself. Eli carried on alone, but strong. He was determined to make it to the treasure, as he had been broke for most of his life, and had less clothes, monies, and luxuries as the others. He kept saying to himself, just over this next hill of sand, I will see the cave where the treasure lies. He started running low on water and food, but carried on anyway. The destination turned out to be much further than he originally thought, and he began to get concerned, as he was so far from any other villages. He carried on with his mantra over endless hills of sand until his camel passed out from exhaustion and died soon after. He now had no choice but to carry on by foot, with what little water he had left. He walked and walked and walked until he dropped to his knees with exhaustion. He lay down on the sand, scorched and severely dehydrated. As he started losing consciousness, he began thinking to himself, this is it, this is the end. Barely an hour later, 2 men on camels walked over next to Eli and observed him lying in the sand. They picked him up and gave him plenty of water and food, restoring him back up to full health. They set up camp for the night and talked around a fire. Eli explained his journey to the other men and the treasure that awaited. The men agreed to help him finish his journey if he agreed to split the bounty with them. They carried on for another 3 days until they finally got there. They entered the cave and found more treasure than they could carry. They split it 3 ways and gave Eli another camel with new directions for a safer trip back. Several days later, Eli returned home with the treasure. He kept a hefty sum for himself, but shared much of it with the others in the village. Not only did he return rich, but he now had a reputation as a hero, with courage and bravery. He was known around the village, and his life changed forever. In the end, the journey wasn't just about the treasure Eli sought, but the person he became along his adventure, and the life he had earned once returned home. Persistence may sound like an easy trait to practice, but when the going gets tough, most people bail. It is during the challenging periods of endurance when we need persistence the very most. It takes great bravery to carry on in the face of adversity, but fortune favours the brave, and with a clear idea of what you want combined with this rare trait, you can succeed at just about any goal your heart desires.
Persistence. Nothing can take the place of it. There's no substitute. There's no replacement for it. Persistence. It's a word that holds so much power. Persistence. To set a goal, to have a dream, and to not stop until you achieve what you want. Persistence is a quality of winners. I believe it's within all of us. And if it's within all of us, it must be within you. Nothing great can be achieved without persistence, because nothing great comes to those who quit when things get hard. The will to persist through challenges,